Hi, my name is Brock. I just had the opportunity of interviewing Bronson Kaufusi, an amazing football player, amazing dad, and he taught that there's more to life than just sports.
My first sport I ever played was soccer when I was tiny. But I ended up playing football and basketball at Timview High School. Then I went to BYU and I played football and basketball my first year. Then I did all football, even though I told them I was going to play basketball the second year, but then I told them I'm not going to do it. So I ended up just playing football. And then I was drafted to the Baltimore Ravens in the third round in 2016. So I was there. And in my third year there, I went to the Jets. And while at the Jets, all the tight ends got hurt. And so during COVID, we had to practice still, but we couldn't get a tight end fast. We couldn't get a tight end fast enough because of testing. So they said, "Hey, you play tight end," because I was offered as a tight end everywhere, and a lot of people didn't know. Even at BYU, I was offered as a tight end. That's why my dad didn't know I was coming in, and so I did. I ended up playing tight end during practice, and after that, the next year I did both, and then the next year I went to Green Bay last year, and I played only tight end. So that's really my whole story, and now I'm a professional golfer. No, I'm just kidding. I wish. I wish I was a professional golfer. People do a lot of personal training, and that just wasn't a big thing. And so all I did was show up to practice and show up to games and stuff. And I didn't really take it as serious, I think, as I could have. When it comes to football, basketball, I did a lot of training in basketball because I was already up and running here where I grew up. But for me, it was like once I could see what I needed to be taken serious at each level, that's what cleared it up for me. So it was huge, like being able to have a vision of what I could become, because everyone else around me had a vision for me, but I didn't have my own vision where I could own it myself. So once I owned that, it was like it didn't matter what I did, or I would do whatever it took. So that was huge for me. That changed the game for me.
Where do you come from, and what's your story?
So I come from a football family. My dad moved from Tonga when he was 9 years old, and he started playing football in high school his junior year. And then he got a scholarship to Dixie. Went and played at Dixie, went on a mission, came home, played one more year, and then he went and played at BYU. And then he went to the Eagles, and then he became a coach at University of Utah. So he coached at Utah for 10 years and BYU for 20. So my whole life's been around sports and football. And so and the funny thing is I didn't really know a lot about how recruiting works or how going to the NFL works. I didn't really know a lot about that because my dad never really talked about it. And growing up, I didn't know my dad played football, which was kind of interesting. But it was really just always a part of our family. Like I went to so many games, was around all the guys all the time, and come from a family of 5 kids, and we all played sports, and so we're all super competitive and everything we do. So that's kind of my background. That's a good question. What are some tips for opposition? You know what? A lot of athletes, they face a lot of adversity, and whether it's injuries or something doesn't go their way, but you're going to face it no matter what. And so when you face that, you kind of have to take time to pause and just collect yourself. Because if you can't collect yourself and you start moving and you don't really know what's going on, it's kind of murky, you won't move as fast. So it's like, okay, let's just sit here and think. Let's get feedback from people that matter in my life, like my parents or my coaches, and then let's make a plan and then let's move. And so that's big for me. I have two. One is, my family's big one was I can do hard things. So that was always big in my family. It was everywhere, I think, growing up. And then I would say, for me, one thing, the mindset that I like to carry with myself is always winning. So whether it's sunny or snowing or stormy or something's not going well, I'm always winning no matter what. That's it. So that's huge for me because it keeps you in a mindset where you really can do anything, and it doesn't matter where you're at. It's not about where you're at. It's about starting and then going to a finish. So that's always big for me. Always winning. Who you are and who you want to be, it all begins with a start. So a lot of people think about the finish, but most people don't even get a finish because they don't start. And so a lot of times athletes tend to, they get scared to do something, or they don't want to, there's a skill that they're not very good at, so they don't go get the help that they need. And so it's the same thing in life. Yeah, go put that over there. It's the same thing in life where it's like, just start and let's just see where it goes. Like, just get moving in the right direction. Get the right coaches, do the drills, make a plan for your drills, and let's execute it. Set a goal. Like, all these little things, if you would just start, that changes everything, because things will come as you go. And that's what I found to be really helpful for a lot of young athletes. Success for me in life is really being able to lift other people up. So what does that mean then in sports? Like, how do you lift someone up in sports? Well, in football, or really any sport, especially a team sport, if you're able to perform at your best, and it'll elevate your team, right? It elevates the players next to you. So that's one way of how to help everyone. And then everyone's giving back to each other, right? And then in life, you always want to, help other people around you, no matter what. You got to be kind. You got to, sit with the kid that might be by himself at lunch and no one's talking to him. You have to be able to see those things and do something about it. Hold the door for people. Just be a kind person. That's what I would call winning at life, because, there's just not enough of that. And as athletes, you forget your platform is strong. And everyone looks at you as an athlete just because you play sport. But it's good, but it can be bad if you're not kind, right? And you kind of aren't very nice to people. Really trying to give back with all these different things that I've learned from college to the NFL. I'm trying to help young athletes with their mindset training, which a lot of young athletes don't have access to, because it's so expensive if you can even find it. But then also, if you want like a really good one, but then also a lot of it's just not accessible. So I've been doing it for 10 years. So now I'm going to give that back with mentorship, with leadership, pretty much giving everything that I've learned in nutrition, recovery, training, skill work, giving it all back to the young athletes, and then bringing this network of guys and girls to come and present their experiences with young athletes, because nowadays it's a lot easier to do that, whereas like growing up you can only get that access if you showed up in person at an event. But now we can connect a lot better through Zoom and all these different things. I have like a challenge that I've been giving young athletes. It's called the 100 Club. So when they sign up, it notifies me, and then I call them and I give them a challenge. And so part of this challenge is you have to do every day 100 different reps of like light work. So light work would be like something you do after practice. Part of the 100 Club is to do some type of rep for 100 reps a day. And then the second part is writing down 100 things you're grateful for in a week, in 5 days. So that's 20 things a day. And what that does is it helps you see the opportunity that not everyone gets to play football or play basketball. And you start to see, it brings you to the present of like right now, man, I'm grateful I get to be here right now to do this drill. I'm grateful I get to move to do this. Some people, they don't get the opportunity, right? Because they have, something wrong with their body. And so it's like being grateful for everything you have. Even like, I always think of it like the fridge. You can go get ice and water from your fridge. For me, I'm super grateful for that, because if you didn't do that, think about it, you have to go to a well somewhere, hike, get water, bring it back. So whenever I think of that, I'm like, man, this is like a free waterfall, like fresh waterfall right here. So I'm always, whenever I do that, I don't know why, I'm always grateful for that, and it keeps me grounded. And then the second thing that athletes do, all right, so you have your training, you have what you're grateful for, and the third thing is you have to do 20 minutes of recovery a day, whether it's stretching, rolling out, I don't know, whatever is good for your body. And the reason why I do that is because it gives you a taste of what it's like in the NFL at the professional level, where they spend hours every day taking care of their defensive end. A lot of it's handwork. So I have a few DNs I've been talking to that have signed up. And so they're like, oh, what can I do at home? Because it's snowing outside. And I was like, oh, easy. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do, but one of the things is just getting quick hands. And all you're gonna do is, if this was a corner of a wall, I'm gonna bring my hands from a rested position or a weighted position, because that's what you do when you're down. And all you're gonna do is move your hands as fast as you can into that wall. But the reason why it's on a corner is because your hands come together. Does that make sense? And it keeps your thumbs up. It's like, well, if I can get my hands into that person across the line from me faster than he can, then I'm gonna win. So it's like you're training something over and over. So every day, so let's say if I did 100 of those every day and you didn't. By the end of the week, I'll have over 600 reps over you. So whose hands are gonna be faster? Probably me, right? So it's like things like that you don't really think about, you know, as a younger athlete, but in the NFL, everyone's trying to do everything they can to get an edge. Hey, I'm Bronson Kaufusi. Let's be excellent.